So I think that the caliber, yes, is important. If I can choose my target, my caliber, sorry, is important because, you know, in home defense, is what is important is also the structure of the house, the wall. Which material is the wall? In Italy, we have a lot of wall with a stone. So if I am going to use some caliber that is very fast, or if I use some full metal jacket, I have some problem with because the bullets can come back. You know what I mean? How you call, Richard? Help me. How you call the?
Yeah, yeah. The type of ammo definitely plays into a lot of that stuff. I mean, like, if you're using FMJs or like bonded hollow points for whatever application you might be using it for competitive shooting, you know, like weight distribution. If you're wanting like a full size pistol to a everyday carry, that you're wanting like something small and compact.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I don't go out into a lot of scenarios where I need a broad range of pistols, so it's whatever I generally am fast, effective, and safe with.
Yeah, I think as long as you stick with the you know, the big three, 9mm 40 Smith & Wesson or 45, you really can't go wrong. It's when you start venturing off into the little calibers like 25 ACP and stuff like that, I would draw the line personally. But, you know, with 9mm and 40 and 45, they're pretty much equal by today's, well, with today's modern ammunition. They all penetrate about the same. Some will expand a little bit more than others, but it boils down to shot placement. And, of course, what are you going to practice with? You go out and buy a 45 ACP. It costs twice as much to shoot that in practice as it does a 9mm. So, personally, I do 9mm.
Is airsoft a legitimate training tool? I'll start with Tim on that.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, there's certain aspects of it that aren't very realistic. You're not going to try to get out of the way of an airsoft pellet as much as you're going to try to get out of the way of perhaps a paintball round or a live round, certainly. They don't have the same penetration. They're not going to go through light cover, things like that, and hit you. But in terms of, you know, weapons handling and you know, practicing navigating rooms and you know, engagement and force-on-force drills, I think they have their place. But I don't think they're the end-all be-all training aid. I mean, there's better alternatives like simunitions and stuff like that, but you know, it's affordable, it's easily available and readily available. So yeah, I'd say use it if you want to, and it's fun.
What is your preferred method of training with simunition or airsoft, or besides live fire for force on force?
Okay, simunition is a very good system, but it's very expensive. It's not easy to find in a lot of places. Usually, I'm honest, we work maybe very easy, dry condition and fire condition. And when we work in dry condition, we work with a real weapon, real weight, and we are going to work in body weapon discipline, and then we pass in fire condition. But I think that software or high soft now, the technology in higher soft, I think, I'm not an expert, but I think that arrive at very good level of technology. The weapons seem really the real weapon. And so I remember that one time, some years ago, also units like Stasi, that is a special, is a secret police of East Berlin, work with AK in 22 caliber, because in CQB it's easier to use and is less dangerous, and also, you know, between the normal 7.39. So I think that airsoft in CQB can be a good compromise if you use the weapon that is a toys. If you use the toys like a weapon and you don't consider never like a toys, I mean that when you train with a airsoft, you need to work in muzzle, you need to work in trigger discipline like a real gun. If you use in that way, I think maybe it can be useful.
So for an AR-15 engaging targets, close range out to 300 meters, what would be your go-to site for that platform?
That's easy. T1 Micro. Big fan of the T1 Micro.
What do you like about it?
I like it small. It's extremely durable. If you guys remember, Larry Vickers was tossing them out of helicopters. You can beat them up. They go forever. You know, a lot of guys ask me about the M21 Meprolite, and I say it's not a very good sight by today's standards. It has dot fade under certain lighting conditions, and the fact that it's tritium powered. I kind of abhor tritium these days. It was great 10 years ago, but we've advanced electronics to the point where this little T1 Micros battery will last 8 years, 10 years. Yeah. I changed the batteries in my Comp M2s after about 6.5 years, not because they went bad, but because I thought I should probably change them, because they're going to go dead on me one of these days. So, you don't have to mess with your point of impact when you change a battery on sites like the T1 Micro. You take your M21 off and send it in for a tritium update. You're going to, jack with your point of impact, so you're going to have to re-zero the rifle when it comes back, and plus you're out, the time and money to do that update. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of the T1 Micros.
A lot of different stuff coming in on T&E and whatnot. So I do have an Aimpoint Micro that I use a lot in a Trijicon ACOG. That's 3.5 magnification. It really depends on what I'm using it for or how I'm shooting. If it's just competitive, or if this sounds awful, but I use a high-powered U.S. optics scope for about 20, 30-yard shots whenever I'm shooting TET, because I know if you're somebody like 22 Plinkster Zero over there that's trying to do some precision shooting with iron sights and everything, but I don't have the luxury of having several $700 iPhones laying around to shoot. So I try to make sure that I can be as accurate as possible for that shot, because I only get one take. So
U.S. optics.
Yeah.
Who gets those? Those are expensive.
Well, they're here in Southern California. That's why I say I don't have the luxury of
they're
getting
nice scopes,
a lot of T&E stuff in. So when companies do reach out and say, "Hey, would you like to try something out?" I'm like, "Yes," because I only have a few things that I can normally go to for my shoots and stuff. So,
Richard.
Yes, sir.
Richard, after your video, never ask me for a phone. I don't give you my phone back.
You won't get it back, no. Well, you'll get it back. It'll just have a 50 caliber hole in it.
Yeah.
But you'll have some really slow motion video.
I have a rugged case in my phone, but I think it's not enough for Richard. Yeah, but about the point, yes, I use Endpoint, Trijicon, I use AirTech, I use Metro. It's very fast Metro, but maybe at the point of inside is a little bit big if you need to work on really precise shoot. But I think everyone is good. The main point is always. I prefer every time to have my weapon very light. So I want to put in. I think that the quadruple rail is something that we don't need. It's too much rail in one weapon. We need to work just in a short segment of the rail, because when you put a tack light, you put a red dot or optics, small optics or big optics, depending on which task you need to do. But when you put a ear light, stop. You don't need to put nothing more. So I think that is enough to use less than the normal quadruple rail that is very big and is not comfortable as well. I prefer every time simple and light.
Tim, Zero, Richard, and now 22 Plinkster.
Oh,
how's it going?
I recognize.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's that famous guy.
Whatever.
It's my biggest fan.
The wizard of 22. Yeah.
Hey,
Man, it's big honor,
Plinkster,
big pleasure to meet you for the first time, because the other guy
we have a
already met.
we have a trick shot for you. 600 meters with a 22.
Actually, it's funny that you said that, because tomorrow I am going to try it.
Awesome. There you go, Zero.
Yeah. Okay, I can
With a
change
22.
my word tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. I think next month I'm going to change my word.
I'll tell you what, if you want to outdo him, get a 25 ACP Beretta and shoot that at 600 yards.
No. I want to go to work with Ryan. I want to make some detonation, big detonation. I want to destroy something in the desert.
Zero, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, man. Big fan of your work.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm big fan also to you. I see something that is unbelievable. I need to see every time something like 30 times for video.
Well, thanks for the views. So
There's too much love. Can we get into a debate or something?
Well, you know what? I'm going to pop his bubble right now. It's all done with editing.
How did you all get started on YouTube? Let's start with the new guy here, 22 Plinkster.
Oh boy, total accident. My buddy dared me and said I couldn't hit a golf ball at 100 yards with a 22 pistol, and so I used my camera phone, filmed it, and threw it up on YouTube just where he could watch it. He's a Navy SEAL, and that was it. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, people started commenting on the video and asking me if I could do something else, and I'm like, yeah. And so I waited around for about another week, and they emailed me back, and they was like, well, where's the video? And I'm like, oh, you wanted me to make a video with it? I didn't know. I thought you were just asking me if I could do it. And so I started making videos. So I think I filmed like the first 20 or 25 of them with my camera phone. So.
Yeah, I'll try not to be long-winded about it. I, went out to Los Angeles a while back and got into the YouTube world with some other channels like Totally Sketch and everything. And after a while, their stuff really started taking off and doing really well. And Mike was asking me one day, he's like, hey, why don't you do this full time? And I was like, well, I don't want to take away from any of the stuff that you guys are doing, just because I can't really create videos on a weekly basis because I was working like 4 or 5 jobs at the time. And so I was like, what could I do on a weekly basis that I would actually enjoy doing and I wouldn't get burnt out on it? And given some of the licenses and ratings and stuff that I have, I was like, well, I'll just start doing some stuff, playing around with some firearms and whatnot. When it started actually like taking off and growing and whatnot, I was like, well, maybe I should focus on this a little bit more, and it's kind of what got the ball rolling and creating stuff. Like YouTube asked me to pitch this thing for their Next Up program, and ended up getting in part of that and everything, and that kind of helped me raise a little bit of money to invest some stuff into my channel and creating content on a regular basis. And just kind of from there, that's how it got rolling, I guess.
Well, kind of like Plinkster, it was all just kind of a fluke. I used to be pretty active on the firearms discussion forums, and people always post reviews of guns they buy and stuff like that, and I got the bright idea to do a video review versus typing out a lengthy text review, and I posted the video, and people liked it, so they said, hey, can you do more reviews? So I said, yeah, sure, why not, because I'm always buying and trading firearms, and so I just started doing it regularly, kind of like Richard. It just starts off doing one every once in a while, and then it consumes your life. Next thing you know, your family's no longer talking to you, and you're looking at camera equipment and new guns every single day when you're supposed to be working. Yeah, so.
Yes, my story is very simple. I start in YouPorn, but I'm too fast in extraction, and they pull me out, and so I need to change the channel. And I pass from YouPorn to Funker Tactical Strings.
How do you guys handle the commentary? You guys put yourselves out there and share your knowledge, share your expertise, and really make you guys are vulnerable to just about anyone and everyone out there, from admirers to haters. How does that affect your everyday life? Does it? Do you still read the comments? Where are you guys on that?
I cry every night.
Yeah, he does. He calls me crying.
I probably get more haters than all of these YouTubers combined on my channel just because of what I do. But
that's because we blocked ours 3 years ago.
I just ignore them now. So I blocked Rated RR a long time ago. But I just ignore them. It's like you consider the source and you just go on with it.
Yeah, I don't let people get to me at all. I read the comments, but if somebody says something, kind of snarky or whatever, I just gloss over it and go on to the next one. I've been around the internet since the internet was born. Me and Al Gore used to hang out quite a bit, and it just rolls off my back. I don't get too wound up about it. And the minute you do get wound up about it and respond to them, somehow they drag you down and you wind up looking like the bad guy. So just don't respond. Just ignore it.
I'm not agree with 22 Plinkster because I also have a lot of smellers trolls in my video, in my comments, and I give them a quite good stuff to talk when I made the first time I roll. You know, and that is it's a lot of stuff to talk. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Especially for the haters. So 22 Plinkster, don't worry, we are in the same boat.
Hey, there's always going to be haters. They're just jealous of you, man.
It's not important if people talk good or talk bad. The important is that people talk.
You're smoking? Oh, that's it. I'm going to go make a comment on a video right now.
If you could have any rifle, what's on the top of your bucket list for rifles that you don't already have?
Oh, my word.
I know. I'm going to have to get on Google.
Probably 18K PSG-1.
You didn't really say that.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Or Tavor. Mac wanted me to
There you go. There you go. I had a PSG-1, and oh, God, I couldn't get rid of it
But
fast
just because
enough.
you don't know how to shoot it.
Well, that's true. That's true. I don't know, man. There's just so many. It changes from week to week. Like right now, the one I'm waiting on the most is the Beretta ARX 100. I really want to get my hands on that. But in terms of like, gosh, a rifle I've always wanted, I'll probably never be able to afford. I'd have to go with STG 44. I've always wanted one of those things. I have my little 22 GSG copy. And that's probably the closest I'll ever get to having a real one. But I think that.
How much do the STG 44s run?
Last time I looked, it was around 40 grand, and I talked to my doctor about taking my kid's kidney because he does have two, and he only need one to live. And then he called Child Protective Services. And it's a long story. Yeah, they're expensive, man. It's that deadpan humor.
You know, it's really like I have like a wish list of things that I wish I could afford. The Barrett M107 is like the thing that the M82 is like what I use a lot. I would love to have a shorter M107 that I could use on a regular basis. If I had to narrow it down to one rifle, I absolutely love the MRAD M338. I've never really talked about it a whole lot, but just the little things that they did to the rifle, like the magazine, for example, like being able just to, you can take ammo, throw it out on the counter, and flip the magazine upside down and just start pushing the ammo in without having to load it. Little things like that I just really like. The 338 obviously shoots just phenomenally. But between that and the MR762 SD, I saw that at SHOT Show, and I'm like, I really want to see how that OSS suppressor works and how it sounds. That really like intrigues me a lot. So I just don't have the funds for a lot of this stuff. So I'm hoping that there's a demo or something coming up where I get to try it out.
Zero.
Yeah, you can repeat please the question, which is
our question is
my TOC carabine, my platform for TOC carabines.
Yeah, your dream rifle.
My dream rifle.
Yeah, if you can get anything.
Oh wow.
I don't know. My dream rifle. I don't know if I have a dream rifle, but I think that I love every kind of platform. AK platform, M4 platform. One weapon is a stick. Just a tool for work. It's not more. I have another kind of dream, and I don't think it's this place for talk about my dream.
If I could be so bold, I think Zero's favorite rifle is his Glock 17.
That's what I was going to say.
I want to know, just for statistic, in your community, there is more girl than in the Flanker Tactical community, because I'm looking for another channel, and I have different customers, different subscribers, because we are too many men all together here. So
I really don't know how to answer that. Maybe, sure. Come on. Come on, I'll have you on my channel.
Different subscribers than us, you know. I want to know. Maybe I can put the shirt about 22 Plinkster if you give me some content.
I'll send you a shirt, man. We'll try it out.
How do you feel about the SIG 556 Russian?
Somebody watches my channel. The 556R. You know, I haven't tried the second generation, but the first generation was a complete travesty. I can't believe SIG released the thing. It was a complete mess. Everybody tells me the second generation has been fixed. I don't know if I believe it or not. I'm sure they corrected some of the problems, but I went out and bought a 551A1, and some of the problems I had seen a couple of years before the SIG 556R were present in my 551A1. With the exception, my 551A1 goes bang every time you pull the trigger, so it does have that going for it. It's a fun rifle, but at 4 inches at 100 yards with match ammo, I probably wouldn't use it for much of anything other than just, you know, making noise.
For somebody who's a beginner shooter, how would you help me approach who I train with, how I train? Do I start? I mean, does the internet help? Do watching these videos help?
Who wants to tackle that one?
Can I jump in real fast?
Yeah, of course.
You know, as a beginner shooter, and I would also throw this out there to even experienced shooters and instructors. I think your training never really stops, and if you get complacent in the type of training that you're taking or instructing yourself, and you don't branch out and just train with other instructors and stuff like that, you're really like doing a disservice to yourself. Because I know a bunch of instructors that take classes with other instructors just to see what other training's like. So even if you are a beginner shooter, just know that your training really never stops.
Yeah, I think, you know, what Radar said is true. You know, first of all, if you're truly new to firearms, you probably want to get just basic instruction, which you can get from pretty much any firing range or shooting or gun store that has an indoor range. I know our ranges around here offer NRA basic instruction. We'll teach you the basic principles of safety, how to store your firearm safely, how to load it, you know, just basic safety stuff. And then if you want to advance more into personal defense, how to protect your home, how to defend yourself when you're out in the real world, you know, there's a number of different firearms courses you can go to. There's some big name trainers, and there's some local trainers a lot of people have never heard of that are good. I would just, you know, like Radar was saying, you'll go to your local forums like Calguns if you're in California, or Ingo if you're in Indiana, and post in the forums and say, hey, where are some good local trainers? Some of the larger training organizations have representatives or training classes in a lot of the other lower 48 states, and sometimes in Hawaii and Alaska. So it's pretty easy to find training. One thing I advise people not to do is get on YouTube, watch somebody do something, and then try to repeat it and think that they're trained. A lot of the stuff that you see some of the top trainers doing, you're just getting snippets of what they're doing, like how they hold their weapons or how they present their weapons from a holster. You don't understand the context of it or why they're doing what they're doing, and you're not learning anything from watching those videos other than how to mimic or copy what somebody else does and just short snippets of what they're doing. And it can be dangerous in some cases, so nothing really replaces actual training, and I would highly recommend, you know, starting off simple, get the basic safety instruction, and then move up to stuff like what the big training organizations do, or like what Zero does in training.
And you need to remember another thing is that we don't have two shots. When we have a weapon in the hand and we are going to make some mistake, we bar what we I don't know in English if it's correct to translate, but when you burn a safety rule, someone paid the bill. Maybe you or maybe someone else. But you know, it's very important that a beginner start step by step. And another point is you don't need to pass to the next level if you don't have clear and if you don't understand at all 100%, and if you don't have a correct mechanic memory in what you do in the first step. You know what I mean? Before you pass to the next step, you need to have a good consolidation of the primary step, and then we are going to secondary or something like that. You can have a lot of materials on the web, but you need to remember that the difference is a screen. When you see someone use a gun, you just saw a video, but after when you use a gun in first person, you are alone. you don't have instructor maybe if you are autodidact. You don't have the instructor behind you, and this is a bad point because there is no one that can make it that can see you during a fire action, during a safety rule, and 4 eyes is better than 2 when you use a gun.
When you do that basic firearm safety, something that's really important, depending on where you live too, is learning the local and state laws for the firearms, how to properly transport and store, because different states and cities have different laws for that stuff.
What made you go the trick shot route?
You mean like what age did I start shooting, or how often do I shoot, or?
Yeah, at what age did you realize that you knew you were really going to get serious into this and you had the passion for it?
I've always shot rifles a whole bunch. My whole intentions was going to Marine sniper school when I graduated high school. That was my whole intentions. Then I got tall and good at basketball, so I went to college and played basketball. So the Marines was kind of out, but I never did really quit shooting rifles. I wasn't shooting as much as I wanted to in college and stuff. And then after I got out of college, got married and everything, and I fell in love with handguns. I shot 22 handguns growing up. A few. My dad had 38 snub nose. He has my dad has a Glock 17 with a 3-digit serial number on it. So he had one of the first Glocks that ever came out. And I really got serious with the 22 pistol probably about 9 years ago. I just started shooting. Back then you could buy 22 ammo for $10 for 550 rounds. And every week I would buy 1,000 rounds every single week, and I would shoot between 500 and 700 rounds. And I just started going that route. I guess some of it is natural ability because everybody in my family shoots. My dad qualified expert in the Army and pistol and rifle, and my grandma. Most of y'all seen the video of my grandma. She's 94 and she killed 156 squirrels 2 years ago with a 22 rifle. So, it kind of runs in the family. We're all a bunch of shooters. So, so I just started doing it, and every time I go to the range, I got tired of shooting still. I got tired of shooting paper. I like to shoot still. I like to shoot paper, but it got boring to me. So I started challenging myself with, golf balls and aspirin and dental floss and playing cards and stuff like that, and it's all spun from there, because every time I go to the range, I try to challenge myself a little bit more each and every time. So, but yeah, I just love to shoot, man. I love to shoot, and I shoot a bunch, and it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too. So, yeah,
man, I'm just trying to think of one point in time. I grew up on a farm, so it was just like kind of a way of life. Hunting, fishing, and whatnot, and honestly, I don't even remember the first time I shot. I think my first gun was given to me whenever I was like 1 year old, and it was a 410 shotgun by my uncle. And
that's age appropriate,
right? And from there, I just remember, like we stocked our ponds and stuff like that with fish, and so we'd sit up on the back porch and shoot snapping turtles and stuff like that.
I thought you said you were going to shoot fish.
Yeah, no. We tried to manage the population of snakes and turtles in the area. And honestly, I there wasn't one point in time where I was just like, oh, this is what I want to do. It just kind of evolved into this. From I'd say like the 90s is when I really started getting into black rifles and stuff like that, and it's just kind of been around me ever since I was born. So
I grew up in Kansas, and everybody there has a gun. I think when you're born, the first thing the doctor does is slap you on the rear end and hand you a gun. So I was really, really young when I first got my first rifle. Gosh, I couldn't even guess an age, but I just remember standing out in the backyard and shooting at pennies stuck in the bark of a tree, and it just kind of carried on from there. But what's weird is nobody in my family was really hardcore into shooting. They all had guns and stuff, but nobody really cared much about them. They were viewed more as tools than recreational devices, and I was the first to view them as recreational devices. I wanted to shoot everything. And then went to Kansas City one day and saw a real M16 laying on the hood of a Jeep and an M14 at an Armed Forces Day. And I asked the soldier there if I could pick it up and look at it, and he said, yeah, and I was probably 8 years old or so, and I picked it up and I looked at it, and I couldn't believe how light it was, and I'm looking down at it and how skinny it was. I was just totally impressed with the design. And then from that day forward, all I thought about was an AR-15 or M16. I had to get one. I asked him, are these things civilian legal? And he goes, oh, I don't think so. And then, of course, I had to go find out if they were or weren't, and I found out you could get the semi-automatic version fairly easily, and so that continued on until I was a junior in high school. And I tricked my mother into buying me one. I told her that she was buying me a .22 rifle for my birthday, but I didn't lie to my mother because it is technically a .22. It's just a centerfire .22. And so we went over to the gun dealer who dealt out of his house, who was also a KU professor, and my mom paid, I remember how much it was, $540, wrote the check for it, and she said, let me see this rifle. And I said, no, Mom, let's wait till we get home. And she goes, no, I want to see what I just paid $540 for. And I was so scared. I opened up the box, and she goes, absolutely not. You're not having that thing. You're never going out of the house with it. That weekend, I was walking right out the front door of my house with my buddies and straight out to the Clinton Lake, and we were just shooting at everything that moved, not people, but yeah. Just make that distinction. So it's just kind of gone on from there. It's just never stopped.
I start when I was a child in Africa. I start with a different gun. The first one is a .22 gun, and then shotgun, and I passed very soon to 375 Holland, but it's very strong for a child. It's a very big gun.
Between the AK platform and the AR platform, which would each prefer? Out of those two, Mac, the Tavor is not in this. Do you have stock in that company or what?
No, what's funny? It's like I wasn't even a very big bullpup fan, and it just when I caught wind of the Tavor at SHOT Show a few years back, I heard that somebody had one under a table. I had to go find out because that was the one thing that Canadians always made me jealous of. They had Tavors and we couldn't have them. You know how it is when you can't get something that somebody else has, and so that's what's kind of piqued the interest in it. But it's not like it has changed my opinion of bullpups, but I still love the AK. So given a choice between the AR and the AK, I would take the AK.
I guess it's again. I think whatever you're safe, effective, and fast on. And for me, I've just used AR-M4 platforms so much that it's just like second nature. I haven't had the opportunity to use an AK until I moved out away from home and whatnot. So it's just a matter of preference, I think. I mean, the larger caliber rounds available. I mean, the AR platform you can get just about in any caliber you want now. So I guess it's just a matter of preference.
I think that the AK, about operator, I think that private operator, it's very easier to find an AK in the past between M4. I don't like too much customized weapon for training, because after in my past, in my job.
Is it gone again? That's the worst point too.
Yeah.
I think what Zero was getting at is when you're actually on the job, it's easier to find stuff for AK, and the AK operates better when you're actually.
I know that the platform, the AK platform is very good platform. It's very hard. But it's very hard, that if you work a lot, when you are going to make a fast reload or tactical reload, the safety, I hate the safety of AK at all, because it's very difficult, it's very strong, a lot of time going out of position if you use a glove, and under stress it's very easy when we're going to kick off the safety past the position and you need to put back. So there is some problem, like a double feed with a M4 sometime, or some misfire with an M4. Every platform have advantage and disadvantage. I think the M4 is faster than AK in manipulation. It's easier than AK in manipulation, But I think also that AK is stronger, and it's very strong platform for use also in hard environment, in complex environment, and the reality context talk for us is very cheaper platform. You can find AK in every part of the world. You know what I mean? So if you are able to use AK, you can work. It's not important if it's from Poland, from Russia, from China, from Turkish, or everywhere. It's the same platform. It's AK.
Another question here from YouTube. What's your opinion on the RIP round, the new one that's everyone was talking about after SHOT Show? We'll start with Tim, Richard, then Zero on that one.
I think it's just another one in a long line of gimmicky rounds that really doesn't offer anything to the shooter. My biggest concern is it lacks penetration. If you take a look at some of the ballistic tests that have been done already, the trocars, the little shards that splinter off, do so in about 4 inches or so. If you have to use that in a self-defense situation, let's say a 300-pound guy is coming after you, a big biker dude, and he gets a hold of you and you have to fire off a few rounds, and those rounds don't penetrate past his fat layer, and you got this little tiny plug that weighs half of what the original bullet weight was, kind of digging in almost to 12 inches. It's really not going to do you a whole lot of good in a lot of situations. So for me, just give me a round like a gold dot, 147 grain gold dot, and I'll take it over these little light, fast-moving bullets that fragment in the first 3 or 4 inches of hitting soft tissue. All
right, and I know Richard's probably had the most experience with them so far. He did those amazing series of the slow motion videos there, and I think you probably had the best first-hand opinion on those. So what was your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I feel like everything in the firearms community goes under a very, very big microscope anytime something new is introduced and whatnot. And honestly, I don't think there's really enough real-world applications or anything like that on it. I mean, what we're going off of is ballistics gel and everything. So just based off of what I've done, I would say it's really what you're using it for, right? I probably wouldn't consider it for anything like a concealed carry situation or anything like that, or personal protection outside the home. Maybe personal protection inside the home. I don't know. I mean, it's just I feel like the experience with say a bonded hollow point or something like that is something that I already know how it's going to perform. So I just have more testing to do on it. But I will say this: the fragmenting rounds have been around for a while. And depending on what you're using them for, I know there was a lot of controversy over not them specifically, but a similar type of alloy that was used in, let's say, experimental ammo, where a contractor shot a guy would normally be a non-lethal spot in the butt, and the way it fragmented out and distributed the pieces, it became a lethal shot where the shrapnel went up into his vitals and whatnot. So NATO ended up banning the use of them for those situations and whatnot. But honestly, I don't have enough experience with them, enough tests on them. I mean, I've done some gimmicky stuff here with the apples and water bottles and stuff like that, but to say that, I mean, I haven't even done the denim layer or any of that stuff to see how it penetrates on the FBI blocks or anything like that. So, to be continued. Actually,
Zero, why do you do this? Why are you on YouTube?
It's all that Google money.
The big bucks, huh?
Yeah, it is, man. We got to cut this short, man, because my chauffeur is about to pick me up. And anyway.
I think that I am on YouTube because my dream is to build a community, international community, for operator or former operator or private or military Leo, or also for civilians that be serious in what they do, and a community where we can ensure every one of us can share our experience, our information, can help a brother between South Africa to Alaska. You know what I mean? That there is not competition in this community. I think that competition is something that is very poor, because when you think that you are the best, you lose, because we never stop to learn. I want to learn every day, especially English. And but you know what I mean. It's very important that everyone, every time I have a course, I think that an instructor learn from his students the same way that the students learn from the instructor. And I think there is no age for stop to learn. And when you think that you are trained, it's just the time for refreshing everything. So I am in web, I am in YouTube with this dream. I have a dream to share my information, to give a point of discussion to much more people is possible. You know what I mean? And it's not important if people is agree or not. I prefer if sometimes, a lot of time, people they don't agree with me in some topics, because this can be a good point, a good critical point, also for me, for giving me a reflection about if the action is correct or not, something like that. But this, I think the main point is need to be the respect for the next. You know, you can say I'm not agree, but you don't need to say you are doombas. Is correct the word?
Douchebag? No, dumbass.
I read this term a lot of time in my comments. Why?
Okay, guys, I think that's all the time we have here. So it was great having all three of you guys on the show. Thanks for coming out. It was great seeing 22 Plinkster here too. So unless anybody else has any final words, I think we'll call it a day, and we'll do this again sometime soon.
All right, sounds good.